Like when we equate who we are with how we look, we basically create idols.
Right.
Like when we equate who we are with how we look, idols, or what we have acquired, idols, or what we have external, amassed, like accumulated externally, idols.
Right.
And we refuse to pierce the image that we see in the mirror with the imagination. And when Owen Barfield said, basically, when we refuse to pierce images with the imagination, we create idols, and all idols become curses.
Wow.
And that's why the mirror is this double-edged thing. It flips depending on what I'm prepared to see.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. So there's the potential to look in the mirror and see your true self, or to see your false self too, in a way.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
If I go beyond what meets the eye.
They go through the mirrors. His characters, they pierce the mirror, actually. They go through them, right? It becomes a portal and not just a hard thing that you can't get through, in a sense. Douglas Harding, he talks about looking in a mirror at a certain stage of development in your life. He calls it the teenager phase. And that's when you look in the mirror and believe that that's who you really are. Like, that's it, right? And he contrasts that to the toddler stage, when the toddler, his parents will say, "Look, that's you, Bobby," and the little kid will look and say, "Okay, for your sake, I'll say yes, that's me," but that's never me to the child. The child is in Barfield's language. The child is in that mode of original participation where he's everything. He's the whole world, right? He's the sky, he's the butterfly, he's the dinosaur, he's the truck, he's the cow, he's everything. He can be everything. But the teenager looks in the mirror and says, "That's who I am," right? And then Douglas Harding says that at that point, he said, no wonder they're so angry, because their world goes this to this, right? But he believes that most people stay in the teenager phase and they just think that they are what, and he says, you are not what you look like. What you look like is death, but what you are is not, right? He also uses that term of who you really, really are, who you really are.
Well, I was going to say that Ina and I just discussed this. Ina is following this Ukrainian philosopher, Alexander Salonik, as well. And, well, I'm really tempted to share that, even though it's really tied closely to the Russian language, what I'm trying to say. His philosophy is so tied up to the language, just like Heidegger's. It's tied up to the German language, and so the translators really struggle to really capture his meaning of Dasein in English and in Russian. So there's like all kinds of things. So in Russian, the words for face as like the external face, right? And then the word for your inner essence, the word for face, and the word for your who you are, the inner essence. And the word for the how to put this, like the all of the saints in the that ever lived in the world and that are in heaven is one word, lik. So basically, so lik is when I say the word lik, which it means face, and then who I am inside my essence, and also who I am in the gathering of the saints.
Oh my goodness!
But there's a fourth semantic meaning to lik, and it's part of the word likovania, which means rejoicing. When he puts this together, it's basically like this. You only know who you really are inside you when other people that you're with, other saints, look at your face as the external face, pierce it, and see who you are when you are rejoicing.
Oh, wow.
And it's, I mean, everything that I said is just one word in Russian, except that, it's in one case it's a noun, and then another case, in another instance, it's a verb. So, but it's like an interplay of meanings within one word. So beautiful. Basically, when other people see me rejoicing, like Sophia was rejoicing before the face of the Lord, they tell me, they reveal to me who I really am by piercing
your face.
My face, So that's just mind blowing.
I love it.
So interesting that in Lewis's Perelandra, the one thing that this devil character Weston is, he was possessed by this no man that Lewis calls him no man. One thing he does to tempt this Eve of Perelandra world is to give her a mirror. So basically, she's already had a mirror. First of all, Maleldil is her mirror, and her husband is her mirror. But then he gives her this actually physical mirror, so she could start looking at herself separately, as if she could point at herself and say, "Oh, this is who I am."
Right.
Which is, which is wrong. And also in the book of Enoch, those evil angels, the fallen angels, supposedly come down on earth and teach humans forbidden arts. And one of those arts was mirrors as well.
Right.
And so basically the idea is that when you stop looking at yourself through the loving gaze of other people who love you and God, you will eventually find like Narcissus found his mirror, and then you will wither away basically by looking at yourself all the time.
Right. But then there's this other idea that you can pierce the mirror, like Barfield talks about, right? And
you can go through,
you can go through the mirror. Yeah.
I am really interested in like how you sort of step through the screen and out into real life. And I'm hoping we'll kind of be practicing that even as we also talk about it.
Here's Luke and I.
Go through,
And you can go through the mirror.
We were joking like, okay, I'm going back into the computer now. So there's a lot.
And the internet or social media wants to turn you into an avatar of yourself, right?
We basically create idols.
But there's a tendency to turn oneself into an avatar and to interpret other people as avatars as well, right?
Idols.
You're talking about the real. I mean, this is the medium is the message, right? So anytime we get together in the real world, that's the kind of the antidote to that.